Good afternoon. My name is Lori. Welcome to my channel. We are quilters. Today is the second episode in my Appliqué series. This happens to be a machine episode. We will be covering both in this series. Last week we talked about using freezer paper for machine applique. Today we are using a variety of other things for machine applique. So, I hope you're ready. Let's go. Today I am going to make corner blocks for that little block that I did last week. I'm going to turn that into a doll quilt for my niece. She loves her dolls and teddy bears and likes to tuck them into bed every night. So we are going to make corner blocks today using 3 different ways of machine applique using a variety of products. First, I have my Steam-A-Seam package, and this is still available on Amazon. It's been a long time since I bought any of these. The packages may look different. And then I have Heat and Bond Light. If you use the heavier Heat and Bond, it will gum up your needle. So light is a good plan. And then you can do applique without any of those products too. We'll talk about that toward the end of this video. So here we go, off to the applique process. Preparing the background fabric. Our first step is to make sure our background fabric is stiff enough. You can use an iron-on tearaway stabilizer. You could use freezer paper at this point on the back. You could even use, I saw someone using a coffee filter. Ironed flat and cut square. You could use a spray starch. Just make sure you protect your ironing surface. Or you could use the West Virginia Quilters spray starch, moonshine. It's not really moonshine. But anything to make it so it has, your background fabric has enough body to be able to turn and work with. After I have the background stabilized, I like to find the center. Why stabilize? To prevent puckers in your actual applique. Making your applique shapes. This is the easy fun part. I'm going to use the templates that I made last week for the center of this little quilt. I'm choosing smaller flowers because they're going in the corners, and I'm using the positive shapes instead of the negative. First, Heat and Bond. I draw my shapes on the back, on the paper side. You can see here, this picture shows the side that you will iron between to make a sandwich. So paper side, I just draw it on there. And these 2 products are very similar in this step. This has 2 layers of paper with sticky in between, as you can see here, and I just draw the shapes on the paper. There they are laying side by side on the ironing board. You can't tell any difference. I've trimmed them out around the line that I drew. The only difference is that when you peel away one part of the Steam-A-Seam, it sticks to your fabric. With Steam-A-Seam, it is repositionable up until the time you iron it. Here are both products ironed onto the fabric pieces, and then I trimmed out on the line so that the pieces are ready to go. After the pieces are cool, both products are the same, peel the paper. I position them on the background, and this one is the Steam-A-Seam, and I don't like the way that leaf is pointing. I want it a little bit different, so I peel it up and I shift it just a little bit and push it down, and it stays until after I iron it. Now it is a permanent fixture on that fabric. Here is the Heat and Bond version. Takes 2 seconds. Did you say no sticky stuff? Here I am not using stabilizer. I'm drawing right on the fabric. And I can see the lines. I'm cutting it out. It's 100% cotton. And here I have the flower and the center cut out, 100% cotton. My background, I find the center just like I did before. No sticky stuff. I lay my pieces onto this background and I give them a good press. Cotton has this fantastic property. It has like little loops and hooks. It sticks to itself. No need for sticky stuff. Half the fun of doing this project is picking the thread. Let's do a little side-by-side comparison of the finished work. Here are the 3 finished blocks laying on the ironing board side by side. Let's take a closer look at each one. Here is the Heat and Bond light sample. It lays nice and flat. It was easy to stitch around. Very nice. Easy to work with. Here is the Steama Seam 2 sample. Again, lays very nice and flat, easy to stitch around, no problems. And the last sample, here is the No Sticky Stuff sample. It does have a few stray threads, but it lays flat. No sticky stuff. Here's a close-up of one of the little stray threads. Here is another example of no sticky stuff. These are larger pieces. This is a quilt I made years ago for my friend, and the butterflies were laid on there. I think I used freezer paper to cut them out and laid them on a background and stitched around them, and that was all there was to it. The quickest quilt I have ever made with applique. It took a weekend. It was a Christmas present, and I used up some bright, colorful scraps and some embroidered doilies, and she loves it and cherishes it. She doesn't care if it's not perfect. This is her favorite butterfly of all. This was also one of my first attempts at machine quilting on a small domestic machine. So you can see that some of it is rather herky-jerky, but it's okay. It puffs up nicely like a quilt should. Review, etc. Please keep in mind that if you need more review, go back to episode 23, and I will show you how to do corners and what I'm going to crudely call crotches in shapes. Here I have some blanket stitch on a machine. It's not my preference, but it is easy to do. I prefer blanket stitch done by hand. Here's a little preview of spring. I hope it's on its way. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you on Wednesday for Build a Block.